Hi, everybody. Welcome to Choice, Change and Action podcast. So, this is a pretty special episode, without making it so significant, which I'll probably talk about as well. This is my 300th episode on Choice, Change and Action. So, first of all, I want to say a big thank you to you if you've been, listening to the podcast. I know there's some people who are just discovering it, and thank you for just discovering it and exploring. I had someone recently who sent me an email thanking me, and he said, I've just spent the whole weekend with you because he found the podcast and he just listened to every single one over, next one on a playlist. So, hey, if that's you, I'm so glad that I can be here for you, that we can be here for each other. For me, that's what this podcast is to invite you to choose whatever you would like to be more of you. What would it take for you to be more of you? Dear universe, what else is possible? Like if we start with that. So there's a lot of podcasts I have, and with various people or on my own. But essentially, what I have been talking about is access consciousness tools, and somewhere like looking for that place that it can inspire you to have more of you and be more of you. And that's what access is a set of tools and processes designed to change any area of your life that you think is not working for you. Okay. How many of you have an area of your life that you think is not working for you? I know for myself, for a really long time, it was money. It's like was like, I'm so shit at money. I'm so bad at money. What do you think you're so shit and so bad at? And what if you weren't? What if you could change it? And what if you could change it by coming out of conclusion and actually being in question? Yeah, because how many of you do conclusion to think you're going to create something greater? But in truth, being in question is what will create something greater. So this is my 300th episode on Choice, Change and Action, but I was just looking. I did have a podcast previously called The Art and Industry of Business and Living. And the first podcast I did then was on the 12th of September in 2017. It feels like not that long ago, but I guess it was. And, I've been doing this podcast for a really long time. So if you've been, using access consciousness tools for a long time, great. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. And if it's just new for you, I want to go through some of the tools that I find really helpful. So number one is the mantra of access, which is all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, one time, many years ago, he has 4 kids, and one of his kids was in a little bit of strife. Wasn't I guess was choosing creatively. Let's say that, or colorful. I like to say. By the way, I like to say that I have led a colorful life because I have done so many things a lot of people may have not chosen or people would judge. I have no place to judge anyone. I literally have that energy of I've been there, done that. I don't know, naughty, if you want to say that. But I'm really grateful for everything I've chosen. And I'm not ashamed, and I'm not embarrassed for anything that I have chosen or anything that I'm choosing. That's where you should be. Okay. Because there is no right or wrong. It's about actually choosing what works for you. And sometimes you choose something and you're like, oh, that might not have been my smartest choice, but I can choose again. So the mantra of access came about because one of Gary's kids was out and he was really concerned. He was like, oh, he's, drugs, jail, all this sort of thing. So he lay in bed because he didn't know where his son was. And he kept saying over and over again, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory, over and over again. I am going to do a recording of this and the next tool I'm going to give you. And I'm going to put it in my Telegram thread. So if you want to join up with my Telegram thread, you can join, you can leave, you can do whatever you want. But I'm going to put a recording of this, saying, so it's 100 times over, the mantra of access consciousness. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. My Telegram thread is just SimoneMilasas.com/Telegram. And we'll have it in the show notes below as well. Use it. It's amazing. I use it all the time. Because the thing is with the mantra, it's about, life is not always rainbows and unicorns, right? It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. So when something great is showing up, ask, All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. You know, the mantra. When something not so great, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. I actually find I do it a lot in airports when I'm traveling, etc. It tends to change the energy. And that's the thing about access consciousness tools, is it's so much about shifting the energy, changing the energy. Is that a manipulation? Yeah, it is. But have you ever noticed by walking into a room, and if there's other people there and whatever energy is going on in that room, by what you choose at that moment, you can change the energy. You know, if everyone's, I don't know, angry, stressed, frustrated, you know, trauma and drama, you can change the energy by what you choose to be in that moment. We all do it. We all do it all the time. It's like, what if we were willing to do that even more? Like, what would you like to create here on the planet? And that for me is why I travel all over the world facilitating access consciousness and writing books and doing podcasts and all of that and doing private sessions. I would like to see something different here, and we get to choose our reality. If you don't choose your reality, this reality will dictate what you should be choosing, and then you start to buy into, you know, all of that fear and the messed up reality. So another tool that I've been using in the past week. What can you hear? What can you hear? You know, there's a lot of crazy in the world. There's like, there's wars, there's cartel fighting, there's, you know, all these different things going on. There's so much. What can you hear? And what I looked at is, when you look at all the stuff going on in the world, do you make that more meaningful and significant? Do you get stressed out about it? Do you create fear in your very body and being? Do you create a sense of lack? Do you create a sense of hopelessness? That's a choice. Remember, choice, change, and action. So that's a choice. What action could you take in order to change something? So I was sitting on my back veranda, and it's so beautiful. I so love my home in Peregian Beach. It truly is a nurturing space. And I'm sitting on my back veranda. What can I hear? And wherever you are right now, what can you hear? Is there kids laughing? Kids playing in the street? Like, what can you hear? Is there a dog barking? For me, on my balcony, what I can hear a lot of the times is the ocean. I live right across the road from the beach, and you can, especially if the ocean's big, you can hear the waves just crashing. So I can hear the ocean. I can hear the waves. And even if you tap into that, like, you don't even have to be there to hear it, to be honest. As I'm talking about it, can you perceive the energy of the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, Peregian Beach, hearing the waves crashing? And then I can hear the birds. And we have so many species of birds around here. And then if the wind is up, you get to hear the leaves rustle. And that is such a unique, special sound. And then I have some frogs on my balcony. Whenever I'm home, they come and live in some of the plants. And quite often, you just hear the frogs croaking. So what else can you hear? So if you just practice that tool, notice even as I'm talking about it, do you start to relax? Do you start to calm down a bit? That's another tool, relaxation. Oh, can I just say, bodies are tired. Are you tired? Where are you forcing yourself and pushing yourself? That is, if you stopped forcing yourself and pushing yourself, you could actually choose relaxation. So here's another tool. Here's some home play is, what if for 1 hour a day, and even 1 day a week if you can, choose something that's nurturing for you, and don't take your phone. Like, I've been going to the beach a lot here. It's beautiful. It's summer. Go to the beach, go for a swim, go for a walk, or just sit on the beach, you know, wiggle my toes in the sand. It's like, have the water, you know, all over my body. It's so amazing without my phone, and just be. Earth, what do you require of me today? Or go sit in my backyard. I've been going and sitting in my backyard. I have this amazing food forest, and it's incredible. I've just recently been baking with the bananas that I had in there, and watching everything grow and be there and contribute to me and me contribute to it. And it's magical. What Where could you be without your phone for 1 hour a day and 1 day a week? Even if you go to the bath, how many times do you soak in a bath and you take your phone so you can catch up on some things? What if you didn't? And how many of you will put music on immediately or do something like that so that you have something else to distract you? What if you just be with the sounds? What can you hear? If you're in a bath, be with you and your body. Relax, relax, relax. And how many of you have the point of view that if you relax, you're being lazy and you will not get things done? What if you be? What if you accomplish way more from relaxation? What's the worst thing that can happen? So what if you tried it? Now, the next tool is the crazy phrase. And that is, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. So what I want you to do at the moment is I want you to put your attention on something that you think you have a problem with. Okay, if you can't think of something, great. But most people think they have a problem with money, their business, their relationships, their body. You know, what are you currently judging? Okay, what I want you to put is your attention on that. Okay, and notice the energy of it, like the judgments that you have. Little hint here, judgment never creates anything greater. So as you're judging it, you're actually making it more significant and you're making it more meaningful. What if you eliminated the judgment and put your attention on it? And I'm going to run this a few times. Maybe it's money. I'm going to use money as an example. Money and body. Let's do that. Okay, so everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Don't forget to breathe. Take a breath. Do you notice the energy shifts? Now imagine what it would be like if you ran that 100 times. So what I'm going to do again in my Telegram thread is I'm going to do a recording of the mantra and the crazy phrase, which will be ran simultaneously and have 100 times. And see if it just starts to change anything. Do it when you sleep or when you wake up or just in the house in a low volume, or listen to it and actually be really present with it and put your attention on something you think you have a problem with. Allow it to change. Let's use bodies as an example. How many of you go, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to get more muscle, or blah, 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 or whatever that is? What if instead you be in question, run these two tools, the mantra, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And ask, body, what do you desire to change? What action can we take? What can I be with you? Because there is nothing wrong with your body. There is nothing to fix. There is nothing wrong with anything you are choosing. There is nothing to fix. But however, you can change. Okay? You can choose and you can change. Money, 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 money. So when I keep saying money, are you comfortable or uncomfortable? Are you happy with the choices you've been making? Or could you choose something different? Money done different. It's an amazing class with a big, huge manual and lots of really pragmatic tools. But most of all, it's about you changing the energy and the point of view that you have around money. So come play the class, Money Done Different. So let's go through a couple of my favorite questions in Access. One is, what else is possible? What else is possible? Now, I've also been adding D universe. What else is possible? And very, very soon, there's going to be a website up that you can go check out, whatevermakesyouhappy.com. And the U is literally a U. We'll put that in the show notes as well. I am starting to do some merchandise, which merchandise is something I did way before Access, like 30, 35 years ago. And I did merchandise and music festivals, etc. So I'm starting to bring that back, not in as big a way. We'll see what shows up. But one of the T-shirts that I have is D Universe. What else is possible? Now, when you ask that question, ask it in any area of your life. I want you to ask it from truly not having a point of view, because so many people will do this thing of going, oh, I have no money. What else is possible? but you're sort of only letting like 5% change in, rather than, dear universe, what else is possible? Show me something else. Okay. And ask it in all situations, great situations, situations that are a bit, you're a bit tweaked. Ask what else is possible. Now, the same goes for the question, how does it get any better than this? Okay. How does it get any better than this? There was a guy in New Zealand who owned a business of selling white goods, fridges, stoves, that sort of thing. He gave these 2 questions to all of his staff members. They didn't do any other access. They just asked these 2 questions. Every single time someone came in the shop and they did not buy anything, he said, I want you to ask, what else is possible? How does it get any better than this? And every time someone came in the shop and they did buy something, I want you to ask those 2 questions. What else is possible? And how does it get any better than this? Okay. His sales increased just by simply using those 2 questions. I have a friend of mine who is a musician, and he's never ever asked me a question about access or, does any other access, but I gave him these questions and he said to me, Simone, every time I ask these questions, I sell out of, this was years ago, sell out of the CDs, that I sell at the concerts he has. I was like, yeah. What else is possible? How does it get any better than this? Use it. Okay. What's the worst thing that can happen? Nothing changes. Hey, give it a shot. Again, access consciousness is only a set of tools and processes to change any area of your life you think is not working for you. You are the powerful one. You are the source. Okay. Stop looking outside of you for the source of creation of your life. You're it. What you choose today is how you create your today and your future. Stop looking outside of you for something to give you the answer, because there is no answer. There is you being in question, and it's you choosing. Okay. Your choice is your greatest power and potency. Okay. So the next question is, how did I create this? Now, this is an interesting one, because a lot of the times you want to blame someone else. So how committed are you to your life? 10%, 20%? Maybe some of you are 50% committed to your life. What does committing to your life mean? Well, if you're committed to your life, you acknowledge that as you choose, you create. You're not blaming someone else or something else for not being able to choose something. It's on you. So the next time something shows up and you go, oh, this happened, blah, 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 blah. No, it didn't happen. You created it. Okay. So change the verbiage. Instead of saying this happened to me, how did I create this? And just be with the energy. How did I create this? Okay. Because you create everything that shows up in your life, whether it's a relationship breakup or, losing a contract at work, etc., anything. How did I create this? Because you tend to just want to blame someone or something else, but that's just passing the buck and not having a look at the choices you made or that you didn't make that created what showed up. Now, what you can also do is use the clearing statement, which is another tool of access. Okay. So how did I create this? Now, you might cognitively have something that pops up, or it might just be energetic. Okay. Everything that is, and everything I'm not willing to perceive, no being, receive with how I created this, I'll destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100, shorts, boys, probeds, creations, spaces, and beyonds. That's the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. And you can find out more about that at theclearingstatement.com with myself and Dr. Dan Keir talking about it. Some really fun videos on there. But the basis of it is it's all about energy. It's all about energy. The POC and POD is the point of creation and the point of destruction, okay, of where you're choosing and destroying something, simultaneously. And what else can you create? You can it's like, getting a blank canvas, or getting your computer and all the different programs and everything you have open. You're going delete, 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 delete. So you have this space, and let's, choose the relaxation again. If you POC and POD all the different points of view that you think are yours, what would you choose? So an example of how I use this, when I started to change my financial reality, one of the tools I used was, I realized I didn't know what my point of view was around money. Someone, I don't know, a car would drive past and I'd be like, oh, that's a really expensive car. or that's an expensive neighborhood, or that's too much, or this is too little, or that must be dodgy because it's too cheap, or, you're continuously being fed these points of view from your family, from your friends, from your neighbors, from media, everything about money. So everything that is, and everywhere you've decided that the points of view you have around money are yours, will you please now destroy and uncreate it? Times a godzillion, and godzillion is a number so big that only God knows. It's a joke. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100 shorts, boys, probates, creations, bases, and beyonds. Now, I want you to use a follow-up question with that and ask, if I was choosing my financial reality, what would I choose? What would I choose? And I'll give you an example. For many, many years, Jesus, I found it, I didn't have money. I was creating debt. I was creating a mess, a financial mess. I didn't want to have a look at it. By the way, the second book I ever wrote, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully, I highly recommend getting that just for changing your financial reality. I also have a class coming up called Money Done Different. I think this podcast will be released before that. And we get to explore all of these different areas in your financial reality. Because if you were choosing money done different, what would you choose? Okay. So for years, I was, wow, the thought of traveling from Australia to America was like, wow, how can I ever afford that? And when I eventually did, and I'd get a sale and economy, and I'd be like, oh, then I used to sleep on people's bedroom floors because I didn't have the money for a hotel and a ticket, right? So then eventually, I got a little bit smarter and I started changing my point of view around money. And I got a credit card that I could use the points, with Qantas, the airline. And then eventually fast forward, I ended up getting my first business class ticket. I bought an economy ticket and upgraded to business on points. I honestly felt like such a fraud. I thought the captain's going to be like, hey, the woman in, 8A didn't pay for this ticket. She got it on wards. She can't afford this. She shouldn't be here, blah, 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 this whole thing. And I acted so snooty, like when the hostess came over and she's like, hi, welcome, give me a little glass of champagne because that's what you get in business and first class. And she's like, do you know where everything is? And I was like, yes. I had no idea. I had no idea how to get my TV out or do anything. But I felt like such a fraud there. And I was trying to prove that I fitted in there. How many of you are trying to prove you fit somewhere? What if you fitted everywhere and you fit nowhere? Everything at that is times a godzillion when you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100, shorts, boys, pro-beds, creations, bases, and beyonds. So anyway, I get this ticket in business class. And then, as time goes by and I am using the access consciousness tools with money, please, please, please start using if you have money stuff going on, use the access consciousness tools with money. They are so pragmatic, like so pragmatic and energetic. Pragmatic and energetic, boom, there you have a masterpiece. So I started using the tools and I could afford to buy business class tickets eventually, etc. I'm on an A380, an Emirates A380. I'm in business class. We're flying to New Zealand and Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane here are in first class. So I go up there to visit my friends and I'm like, this is so cool. Like they had these little cubicles. You get this bag where you get pajamas and slippers and, the best amenities and all of this. And they had their own little bar there with water and soft drinks, etc. Big TV, like it was incredible, And I was like, this is so awesome. And I was so pleased and grateful that Gary and Dane got to travel in first class. Here's where I want you to have a look at what your point of view is. Like, even as I'm talking about this, what is coming up in your world? Oh, I can't believe they chose that. Like, da 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 da, or I can never afford that, or oh yeah, whatever's coming up on your world, POC and POD. Everything at that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100 shorts, boys, probates, creations, bases, and beyonds. So I'm walking back to business class, and in my head, I can hear myself go, that is so awesome that they have first class. I don't need that. I'm happy with business. Now, there was a truth there. I don't need it, but why would I not ask for it? So now, a lot of the times when I am on Emirates, I travel first class, and it's phenomenal. Okay, it's everything that I thought it would be, especially on an A380. It's incredible. You even get to have a shower on the plane. which is really cool when you're landing somewhere after a 14-hour trip and you're like, I'm refreshed. Okay. So now notice, as I'm even telling you this story, what comes up in your world. Pock and pot it. Pock and pot it. So if you don't remember the whole clearing statement, that's okay. Just pock and pot it. Or you can even be like, whatever the hell that crazy lady Simone's saying. Okay. Pock and pot it. So everything that brought up for you about money and your current financial reality with money, where you destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pod, all 100 shorts, boys, proverts, creations, bases, and beyonds. Truth. If you were choosing your financial reality, what would you choose? What would you choose? Okay. Please start looking at that. And you can play with that tool, like even if it's got to do with relationships, etc. It's like, how many times do you see people in relationships and you're like, oh, they've got the perfect relationship, or oh my God, that would drive me nuts. Well, yeah, it's not your relationship. And by the way, nobody has a perfect relationship, and you don't want to ask for a perfect relationship, because literally perfect, we have decided, is there is no change. You want to ask for a relationship that is more of a creationship. Okay. So what's a creationship? Creationship is where you get to create together. Literally, the definition of relationship means the distance between two things. So how many of you are trying to create relationships, rather than, what if a question you could ask is, what creationships can I invite into my life today? And that can be with the people that you work with. It can be with your lover. It can be with friends, etc. I keep asking for changes in different areas of my life, of the people who contribute to me. And I have a new gardener, Nathan, who is such a contribution to my garden. He's amazing. And I also have a new cleaner, and she is a major contribution to my house. It's like she really cares about what's going on. You know, I like to surround myself by people who are a contribution to me. I can be a contribution to them. And that to me is a creationship. So how many creationships can you ask to show up in your life? Dear universe, show me what else is possible. Okay. Dear universe, show me what else is possible. What if your life didn't have to be hard? My favorite thing is what Gary Douglas says is, there's only one thing you want hard in life. And I'll leave you with that. What if it wasn't your life? Okay. What if your life didn't have to be hard? What if you actually truly started living? What would you choose? What could you choose? All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And dear universe, show me what else is possible. What would it take for you to choose for you today? What would it take for you to embrace everything that you are today? Be you and change the world. Dr. Ed Dane here wrote a book about that. It's incredible. Every time I pick up that book, I'm like, oh, I don't think this was in here before. He also does classes on it as well. We'll put that in the show notes. Be you and change the world. Being you and changing the world. So again, I want to ask you right now, if you can, shut your eyes. If you're driving, please don't. Or operating heavy machinery. Or cooking. Just be with you and be with your body. And I want you to put your hands on your body somewhere. Sometimes your face is really nice, because it's like there's this moment of when you put your hands on your face. And it's like, hi, body. Hi. I'm so sorry for judging you so much. How many of you wake up in the morning with this litany of judgment of your body? Don't judge that you're judging. Just make yourself, like, start dedicating yourself to demanding that you stop judging, because judging doesn't create anything greater. And as you put your hands on your body somewhere, I want you to take a big breath in. Big breath in. And as you breathe out, destroy and uncreate everywhere that you've been choosing based on this reality instead of creating your reality. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100, shorts, boys, perverts, creations, bases, and beyond. Now, access consciousness is not about fighting this reality. It's not about eliminating this reality. It's not about resisting this reality. It's just acknowledging that, dude, you're a little bit more magical than that, okay? You've got way more magic. You being you, walking, the walking, talking, you are a walking, talking miracle. That's how it works, okay? So more magic, miracles, and chaos, please. And so many people judge chaos, but chaos is where you are in question. It's consciousness. Look at the earth. Look at the way nature is. It's absolute chaos. Invite more chaos into your life. And I'm pretty sure I've done some podcasts on chaos as well previously. Maybe check that out, because most people avoid chaos. I'm not talking about havoc. Havoc is where you literally create destruction. Like, not good destruction, like distraction. You destroy, you judge, okay? Judgment is havoc. Question is chaos. So again, as you be really present with your body, I want you to engage with the energy of the entire earth. And just keep breathing, because breathing is good. Reach out into the entirety of the universe. What do you hear? What is the earth asking of you? What can you contribute? What can the earth contribute to you? What can you receive today that you were not willing to receive yesterday? What can you receive today that would create you being totally out of control? Because guess what, guys? Control is not something that is conducive to creating a different reality. You try and control things into existence rather than allowing more to show up. So everything of that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100 shorts, boys, proverbs, creations, spaces, and beyonds. Thank you so much for being here on my 300th episode. I am so excited about this. I also have I have a Profit Club, which is a membership, and it's $28 a month, and you get 2 calls with me a month. You get to ask questions, etc. You're in a private Telegram thread, and there's a whole bunch of other things like random gifts that I would do. It's, I think, my 50th episode in March, and so to celebrate that, on the 17th of March, Australia time, I'm going to be doing an energy pull. I do these things called energy pulls. It's another access consciousness tool. I have 2 of them that are free on my YouTube channel. Please go check that out. Some of them are looped. There's some really cool stuff on my YouTube channel. We've been cleaning it up and making it great and amazing for you to be able to receive this stuff, okay? There's one on business, there's one on money, and I'm going to be doing this live from Uluru into my YouTube channel. Uluru is a big, massive red rock of creation. They say one end of the rock is 550 million years old and the other is 650 million years old. You walk around that place, like it's 10 and a half kilometers to walk around. You walk around it and you're like, tell me what problem you think you have again. It sort of puts things into perspective, or takes them out of perspective, as the case may be. So I'm going to be doing a live from my hotel, but the background you can actually see Uluru. So, and it's an energy pool for possibilities. It's free and it will be on my YouTube. So I'd love to invite you to that on the 17th. We'll put those details in the notes below as well. But please, like, I would love it if you would share this podcast with anyone and everyone. I meet the most random of people who have never come to an Access Consciousness class, but they listen to my podcast. All of you, I am super grateful that you're here. Super grateful that you're here. And maybe this year is the year that you start exploring attending an Access class. There are so many of them on all these different topics. My recommendation is to start with a bars class. A bars class is, you've got these different points on the head that when you touch, it starts to eliminate all of the different, again, points of view that you have around things like aging, sexuality, sadness, joy, healing, money, control, a whole lot of them. Okay, I would start with the bars class, or start with the Profit Club, whatever you want to choose. It's your choice. It's your life. Choose it. What I would ask is, are you choosing enough? Are you choosing as much as what you could be choosing? Because this is your life. Let's go. Let's not have a life. Let's truly live. Okay. What would it take to live? Dear universe, show me what else is possible. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here on my 300th episode. If you're new or you've been here since the beginning, I am truly, truly